Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Brave Namibia, where we celebrate both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians. In our first insert today, Tanja Bause takes us to Nambinga, who is the manager of the HISA Namibia Community Centre in the Kilimanjaro informal settlement. HISA consists of a kindergarten, school, community garden and a soup kitchen that supports the communities of Kilimanjaro, Okahanya Park and Babylon.
My naam is Nambinga. Ek is die hoof van die Hope Initiative Namibia, hier so in Kilimanjaro in Windhoek.
Vertel vir ons bietjie Hilia, waar vandaan kom jy? Waar is jy gebore, skool gegaan?
Ek is eintlik in Windhoek gebore en ook in Windhoek skool gegaan. Ek het eers by Mandome Primary School begin, toe gaan ek by Namtuni, toe eindig by Goriangap Secondary School.
En wat het jy na skool gaan doen?
Na school het ek maar net by die huis gebly, my ma gehelp. En nadat, toe, wanneer ek het moes nou graad 10 gedryp, toe het ek maar net met my ma by die huis gebly, my ma gehelp, of my ma het moes nou hierdie kapana goede verkoop, so het ek my ma nog gehelp by die huis, en later toe gaan leer ek vir hierdie kindergarten se goede nog. Toe kreeg ek my certificate, is nou die ding wat ek nou hier so nou die kindergarten leer.
Wanneer het jy by hierdie sentrum begin?
2007 het ek begin, tot nou toe.
En het jy eers begin as 'n kindergarten onderwyseresse of?
Ja, ek het so begin as 'n kindergarten juffrou. Daarna toe moet ek nou 'n skoolhoof wees. En nou ek is nou die hoof van die hele goede wat hier so nog gebeur.
Vertel vir ons bietjie van die sentrum. Wat doen julle?
Eintlik is ons help mense in die community. Ons help die mense in die lokasie. Ons het nou 'n kindergarten, het ons 'n soup kitchen, ons het tuin, en ons train ook die mense om hulle se eie goed te maak met hulle se eie hande, soos nou naar werk, om 'n tuin te hê by die huis, en ja, so.
Maar dit is nie al wat julle doen. Julle help ook met geboortesertifikate.
Ja,
registrasies.
Ja, ons het what we call it an information desk point, whereby now the parents or the people in the community come and they get all the information. So we give them information on how to obtain a birth certificate, how to obtain social grants. So, and if you see now here, people in our community are people that really don't know even where are the offices, where they can access the information. So sometimes we'll take them there to Home Affairs and then fill in the form for them and then get birth certificate for their children. No, die kindergarten vir kleinkinders, ne, van 2 jaar tot 6 jaar. Maar ons het ook 'n klas waarmee ons sê bridging class. Een bridging class is vir die kinders wat nooit nie skool toe gegaan nie en hulle is mos over age, hulle is nog groot, hulle is miskien 10 jaar of 11 jaar en die kinders kan mos in graad 1 gaan nie. So vat ons die kinders in die straat uit, dan kom reël ons vir hulle vir 1 jaar en as ons sien nou die kind kan toch miskien in graad 2 of 3 gaan, dan vat ons die kind by Dr. Frans op Indongo Primary School. Is net die skool wat langs ons sender is en die skool help ook vir ons. Hulle gee ook vir ons kinders toets, dan kyk hulle, ja, die kind, hulle kan nou in graad 1, hulle kan nou nie in graad 1 gaan nie, maar hulle kan in 2 of 3 of 4 gaan. Also when we get donations or whatever we receive, we note them down. That we have received this from who, all the contacts. Sometimes we also let the people to sign when they give us donation. And there's those that say, oh, no problem. But as for our records, we just note it down. And then also when we take it out, we note down that, no, we have helped Maria Shipanga's house with this and that and that. We have rebuilt this house so that next time when we receive, we know where to go. We are no more going to Maria's house. Now we are going to Janet's house. Is how we do.
Vertel my so 'n bietjie nog van die tuinprojek. Hoe het dit begin en wat doen julle, wat plant julle, wat doen julle met die groente?
Die tuin het nog begin net weet jy waar ons bly nes maar so 'n bietjie plekkie. Dan sê die mense nee, ons kan nog nie tuin hê by ons huise, daar's honde, daar's water, die mense hulle stoot, hulle sal mos net ons tuin kompie en so. Nou toe leer ons dan vir die mense laat hulle kan mos daai tye gardening maak. Net die kar servier, né? Dan sny jy net so bietjie op, maak dit bietjie oop, sit jy bietjie sand in. Eers moet jy 'n plastic onder sit, dan sit jy bietjie sand en dan sit jy jou groente daarby. En nou, dan sê ons nou, as jy gaan slaap met jou tyer in die huis in binne. En as jy opstaan, dan staan jy op met jou tyer op. Is nou wat ons nou vir die mense gaan wanneer hulle die is ook nie ons plek nie, is munisipaliteit se plek. Enige tyd sal munisipaliteit sê nee, julle se kabasho nou hierso uitvat. Nou wat lag ons met ons tiene wat julle nou vir ons gereer om by te gaan te sê. Toe sê ek okay, daai tien as die munisipaliteit nou sê jy kan nog gaan, dan gaan jy ook met jou weer tien. So and this one is just a training garden. Is where we train them, but we also plant something so that we can use that spinach. Sometimes we sell it to the community just to show the people that we are helping to say you can also sell your veggies. It's not only to eat, but sometimes you can also earn income. And sometimes you can also we also cook it in the kitchen, and then we show them that you cook and you sell at the same time, so you make money. Then you buy bread.
How many children come and eat here at the soup kitchen?
Plus or minus 300.
Every day?
Every day. For example, we have 150 the morning section, the ones that are schooling here. And then again in the afternoon, we have maybe 150 again or plus, that the ones that are schooling somewhere else, but they are just coming to eat the soup kitchen. And that one, we do it like three days a week, like Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. And then on a Saturday, you can even have 400 to 500 children.
Where do you get the food for the children?
We have sometimes it's just the fees. We ask most each parents when they are coming for the schooling children to pay $50 or $30. Any parent that can afford that one, we can also contribute to the food. And then we also have the church. We have 3 churches that are helping us. We also have the Windhoek Life Change. We have the Windhoek Christ of Church, and then we have the Harvest House in the National Church. So those are the churches that are also bringing donation of food to us, and then we use that.
You also make soap.
Yeah, we also do. Those are the trainings that we do. We do sewing, dish making, mat making, as well as washing powder. All the bath soap we also do. And then now we have a new project that we want also to start to teach the ladies in the community, which is bead making, like making. Yeah, this is all project, or this is all trainings just to help them so they can be self-sustained. They can do their own business, because sometimes not everyone is selling chips. Everyone is selling sweet. So if you come up with a different thing, and then you have your different customers.
Maar hierdie is nou 'n nuwe projek.
Ja, dit is maar net hierdie jaar begin.
En waar het julle dit geleer?
Ons het net die mense gesien. Hoe maak hulle? Ons het Google, YouTube en so. Toe sien ons nee, die is dan so mooi vir ons mense. Ja, ek is 'n getroud vrou met 3 kinders. Die eerste een is 'n seun en met 2 tweelinges. Alles is 2 meisies, so pragtig en stout.
'n tweeling. Hoe oud is hulle?
Hulle is nou 10 jaar, maar in Oktober sal hulle 11 jaar wees.
Wat is die droom vir die toekoms?
Die droom van die toekoms is maar net om mense te help tot dit. Soos ek nou sien, ek is maar net gemaak om mense te help.
Next, we head south to Keetmanshoop, where Elizabeth Joseph caught up with local author Jeanine Burger.
I was born in Pretoria in South Africa. My family comes from there. My mom was a Cape Town born girl. And my dad's actually Namibian, but they moved to Pretoria so that he could study theology. He's a minister in the Dutch Reformed Church. And we were living in a small town called called Another at that time, until I was about 2. Then we moved to Delmas. And in Delmas, I learned about music and I learned about reading, my formative years. My mother instilled a great love for reading in me. She would come at night when my little brothers put to bed. She would come and she would sit with me and we would read to each other. When I was old enough, I would read to her a chapter and she would read the chapter to me. And yes, so my love for reading, I think, comes from her. My dad also likes reading, but I think she planted the seed and she nurtured my love for reading. And then when I was 6, my little brother was born. He plays a large role in our family. He was born genetically different. He's got Williams syndrome. So a lot of what we did in our life revolved around him and trying to create awareness about Williams syndrome, because when he was small it was very rare to have a Williams child and no one knew about it. So he was about, I think, 2 or 3 before he was diagnosed, and my parents made it their mission in life to create awareness, and they had people come from America and they toured all the universities and saw all the medical faculties and taught them what Williams syndrome is. I've got 2 elder brothers and then the younger brother, so I am the rose between the thorns. Yes, and he was born when I was 6, about Johan. And around the same time I started doing music lessons, recorder, and I think I really do love music very much. I think my love for music was born there. I played in a small school band that we went to the old age home and we played for them at Christmas and things like that. And I did later in school, I did piano lessons until I was about 11. Then we moved to East London on the east coast of South Africa, where I spent my teenage years. And I think it was a good move because here my love for reading turned into a love for writing. When I was in grade 5, I think it was grade 5, we went on a field trip to a small mountain town called Hoxback, and we sat down by one of the waterfalls and the teachers asked us to write a poem, and I wrote a poem, and the poem was sent into a competition and I got a 3rd place in this competition. And then I realized that my writing might be something that I'm good at. So I finished primary school and went on to high school. I went to Hoërskool Grens, the only Afrikaans high school in East London, which is very English. And there I had great teachers. My English teachers stand out to me, but most of all my drama and my music teachers. They had a very big role in my life. And then my drama teacher helped us. We were supposed to write a play about something, or she asked who wants to write a play. I can't remember exactly what happened. And because of our awareness campaign about the Williams syndrome, I decided to write a play about a Williams syndrome boy. And it was performed in the school hall, and and there my love for playwriting, I really love playwriting, was born. And I think from that year on I wrote a play every year, or co-wrote a play every year, and I directed them, and we took them to the Artiekofeer. I don't know what it is in English. We took them to the competitions at the Artiekofeer, and always did good. We always did a good job. And even after school, I fell around a bit, not knowing what I wanted to study. I remained part of the school, writing and directing plays and going with them, and so I think my writing was nurtured there. So I tried a little bit of music and studying music. It didn't really work. I tried psychology, and I realized I will cry myself to bed each night if I have to, and I can't help the people, I just have to guide them. I can't fix their problems for them. So in the end, I decided to try a Bachelor of Arts in Languages and Literature, and the specialization is then creative writing. And it was amazing. It opened up the world for me. We wrote different genres, poetry. I don't think I wrote novels back then, but short stories, plays. And then one of my subjects was ancient history. I did it up to the 3rd year. So the Roman history has always been a point of interest for me. My father, as I said, is a minister, and he likes to preach. No, he likes to work into his preachers or sermons what happened during the lifetime of Jesus. So he would tell us, and I think you read the novel, he would tell us about this Roman soldiers who would tar children and then tell the person, who's your God, Nero or Jesus? And if the person said Jesus, then they would set him alight and let him go and run. It was terrible, and I think that stuck in my mind, and I think the whole novel was born there in East London in the pews of the church. So my love for ancient history, I think, also comes from my family.
And our final clip of today is also from Windhoek. It was compiled by Jana-Mari Smith. As Namibia buckles under the emotional strain of the pandemic, experts share their tips and advice on how to weather the psychological storm. You can use this practical advice to lift your mood at home, to adapt to these difficult times, and also to get information on how to take part in free online shows offered at the moment by local health organizations for emotional well-being.
COVID-19 is one of the most indiscriminate viruses we have seen in our lifetime, and we are all affected in one way or another.
As Namibia buckles under the collective trauma and grief of the pandemic, concerns have been raised about the long-term impacts on mental health. But there are tools that don't require leaving the house and that are freely available to help us cope under the strain of living through the third wave.
We are all facing a very disruptive world at the moment. We are fighting an invisible enemy. Many of us are in a constant state of war. In this time of collective crisis, many of us function by running, by keeping busy, by not slowing down, by not looking after ourselves, but rather focusing on the outside and focusing on how we can help others, without realizing that the only way we can start helping others sustainably is to focus on ourselves, to deal with what the grief and the loss that we're experiencing, to not run away from it.
This pandemic evokes a lot of uncertainty. Security in many aspects of our lives are left broken and vulnerable. And this is especially hard for human beings. We like certainty, we like planning, we like being in control. And this is unfortunately a time that we can have very little of that. However, one of the ways that we need to tackle it psychologically is to tell ourselves that we can manage it. Despite uncertainty, we can manage and tolerate what is going on around us.
So we should accept the new normal that you are in now, because we do not know for how long COVID-19 will be here. So we should learn to live with COVID-19. You should always have someone to talk to, and I always call these people, you should have your 911. 911 is an emergency number, so you should always have someone to talk to. We have social workers in the country, of which the government of Namibia have paid that services for. You should always have a place to feel so safe, where you can express yourself without being judged, and then being understood to say. So it's best to seek help. Therapy is important. All hospital, there is the social worker, so you go there. You do not have to make an appointment. If you don't want to go to social workers' offices, you should also visit psychologists.
So I know we are all quite isolated right now. We can't have gatherings like we used to, but we're also very lucky to have Zoom and have Skype and WhatsApp. So don't isolate yourself. Reach out, go talk to people. If you can't talk to your family, talk to your pastor, talk to a social worker. It is super important that we try and cope and deal as much as we can now while it's appropriate, rather than numbing and suppressing.
Please reach out to people. Please ask people to check in with you. You do not need to, and you should not go through all of this alone. There's a lot of people that find it incredibly rewarding to help and assist, because in all other ways they are powerless. They cannot help you recover, but they can help and support in other practical ways.
We do have to create space for grief. Our classic model of suppressing and numbing and just, sweeping it under the rug, that might have worked if we've lost one person, but now we're losing 3, 4, 5 family members, we're losing colleagues and friends, and there's so much grief and bereavement right now that we simply can't suppress it. We have to create space to try and heal. And this is also really difficult if you can't have your classic funeral. A lot of our traditional rites can't be observed right now. So this really makes it more difficult to actually move through that stage of grief. So we have to kind of be creative and have our own rites and have our own funerals and talk to our loved ones, the ones that you've lost. I'm dealing with a lot of people now who haven't had an opportunity to say goodbye, and they haven't had an opportunity to make their peace and say their sorries for the things that they've regret with that relationship. So talk to the person and say those rites. Have a funeral at your house, even if it is just a symbolic one where you're burying a rose or something significant to that person.
Face-to-face mental health support is very often out of reach of a lot of us. Even those who have the financial resources to access face-to-face mental health support often do not, due to other barriers. So by making this 14-day mental health challenge available online to everyone, we really hope to start sparking a movement of daily practices amongst individuals that help to manage stress, to help manage anxiety, and by strengthening the individual, we collectively also strengthen our community. This challenge is really about teaching us techniques and practices to help deal with the stress of this new everyday life. Help us be more present, help us to focus on how to deal with these emotions so that we can help ourselves, and in helping ourselves, we'll be stronger to help others and the community around us. The only criteria to participating in this is to be human.
Take care of yourself. Self-care is very, very important. What I mean by self-care is that you should take time for yourself, spend time with yourself, exercise, do gardening, whatever you're trying to keep yourself busy. And we believe in therapy, and when you work on yourself, you work on your mind, and you try to accept the situation we are in, or to our new normal, living with COVID-19, we are going to have better results.
In our brave new world, every act of kindness makes a difference. And very often that kindness starts with being kind to yourself and using tools that are readily available to be present, to look after yourself, to deal with your loss, to deal with the grief, to deal with the emotions that we're facing and not just push them aside. A lot of us do that. The only way we deal with this uncertainty is to power ahead, to stay strong, to stay busy. But that is an inexhaustible resource. We need to find ways to slow down, to be present, to take stock of our emotions, to recognize them and to deal with them.
We can do small things that just keeps our mind positive, hopeful, inspired. We all have to limit our exposure to social media, especially those social media platforms that's just constantly the bearer of bad news. My suggestion would be to have a time of the day, maybe in the morning or the evening, to check in with people that you love and care for, or to phone them. But really watch out how much time you are spending on it. We all have a limit to our time and energy. It's our responsibility to preserve it. It's our responsibility to take care of ourselves, because only then can we actually take care of other people that we love and care for.
Of course, fear and anxiety affects our immune system. It pumps us full of adrenaline and cortisol, which then again makes it easier for us to be susceptible to infections. So we really do have to get rid of the cortisol and adrenaline in our bodies. And the healthiest way to do that is through exercise. So go for those walks, get outside, don't forget to exercise. And of course, we can also really help the symptoms of anxiety by actively slowing down our breathing. So if we inhale and we exhale for much longer, so slower exhales, it also really helps to calm down your nervous system so you don't feel so anxious. Our world right now is so dark and it is so difficult and challenging, and there's so much struggle going on that it can feel like this is all there is right now. And maybe we also need to remind ourselves that this is a moment to be deeply grateful for what we have left. This is a moment to really focus on our relationships. And this is really a time to also try and find a little bit of light in the darkness. Do things that make you happy. Don't forget to do your hobbies. So sing, play music, paint, work in your garden, go walk your dog, spend time with your family members that you have left. We really, really have to kind of live the life that we have, appreciate the relationships that we have, and really just take care of ourselves and take care of each other.
Thank you for joining us on today's journey. If you know someone that you feel should be featured on our program, please contact us at brave@nmh.com.na.